This is Joy Foote. Welcome to Pine Mountain, then and now. I recently attended a presentation sponsored by the Chipley Historical Center about the history of the schools and teacher requirements in Pine Mountain from the 1800s to present day. Frankie Mabry did a fantastic job sharing the evolution of education over the last 150 years. There was one particular piece of history that Frankie shared that I thought was worth repeating on my podcast. The requirements for being a teacher back in the late 1800s and early 1900s was really something. While the list was serious business back in those days, I admit I had a hard time containing my laughter when Frankie shared these requirements during her presentation. Before I get into these outdated requirements, let me give you a quick background. Up until about the 1880s, there was very little organized education. The parents established and managed the schools for the children who attended, or children were homeschooled. And when the schools were developed, the teachers were poorly paid and traditionally boarded in a parent's home. Each family had the teacher as a house guest for a while to help pay for their child's schooling. And female teachers had special requirements and were expected to obey these rules. 1. You will not marry during the term of your contract. 2. You are not to keep company with men. 3. You must be home between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. 4. You may not loiter downtown in ice cream stores. 5. You may not travel beyond the city limits unless you have permission from the chairman of the board. 6. You may not ride in a carriage or automobile with any man unless he is your father or your brother. 7. You may not smoke cigarettes. 8. You may not dress in bright colors. 9. You may not, under any circumstances, dye your hair. 10. You must wear at least 2 petticoats. 11. Your dresses must not be any shorter than 2 inches above the ankle. And I assume by this that you must wear a dress. No pants allowed. 12. To keep the schoolroom neat and clean, you must sweep the floor at least once a day. Scrub the floor at least once a week with hot soapy water. Clean the blackboards at least once a day. Start the fire at 7 a.m. so the room will be warm by 8 a.m. Hearing these requirements really makes me appreciate how much of a sacrifice a female teacher made. It also makes me wonder what the men's requirements were. I bet they were able to loiter at the ice cream store. If you want to learn more about the history of our schools, head on down to the Chipley Historical Center. They even have photos from the local area schools that you can see. Come on down to Unique Expressions this Saturday, November 9th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the monthly local music jam. It's an acoustic open mic where local area musicians get together to sing, strum, and pick their guitars, banjos, bass, and more. So if you want to sing or play, come on down to Unique Expressions for a toe-tapping good time. All skill levels are welcome. And even if you don't want to play or sing, come anyway, because the music is fantastic. The Chipley Historical Center is hosting its annual Veterans Day Memorial Ceremony on Sunday, November 10th at 2 p.m. The program will feature distinguished speaker Colonel Paul Longrear, retired from the U.S. Army. The Daughters of the American Revolution Ensemble, the King's Gap chapter Darlings, will sing patriotic and popular songs from different war eras. And if the weather permits, the Color Guard from the Coweta Falls chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution will fire their muskets. The event will take place at the Family Life Center of the First United Methodist Church of Pine Mountain. Refreshments will be served following the ceremony, including hot dogs, sodas, and cake. For more details, please reach out to the Chipley Historical Center at info@chipleyhistoriccenter.org. Save the date! Light Up Pine Mountain is on Friday, November 15th. The fun begins with the music and continues well past when Santa comes through on a fire truck. There'll be special choirs, carolers, and the lighting of the Christmas trees. And as a special perk, the shops will be open late. More details to follow in next week's episode. Today's episode was brought to you by Tours with Joy, the guided walking tours through Pine Mountain. There are 2 tours available, the Wild West Days of Chipley and the Beautiful Murals. Check out tourswithjoy.com for details. Special thanks goes out to the Chipley Historical Center for fact-checking this episode. The beautiful art and music for the show was created by Silly Bug Studios. My next episode is on Wednesday, November 13th. Hope to see you around town.